Welcome to the Just Talk with Rachel, and we are continuing on our self-mastery program. Remember, we've been talking about self-mastery. What is self-mastery? What are the three components of self-mastery? And so far, we have discussed in detail the importance of managing the thoughts. Because when you talk about self-mastery, we are including how we interpret situation. And in this episode, let's look at emotions. What are emotions? Well, emotions are a feeling. Emotions are vibrations or the energy you experience when you think about something. When you talk about emotions, we are referring to feelings such as sadness, joy, happy, anger, and many others. So these are the universal feelings which come about due to the interpretation of the situation from our minds. Well, this brings to mind the time when I was training a group of people on emotional intelligence. And I remember one gentleman said to me, Rachel, I don't know why I'm here. I'm here to attend emotional intelligence, but emotions are women's things. Are emotions really felt by women? Are emotions felt by a particular gender? Well, no. Emotions are universal. Whether you are a man, a woman, a child, everyone do experience emotions. Because when we speak of emotions, it's something that happens to us. It's something that happens inside us due to how we have interpreted the situation. What we need to appreciate is that emotions are normally a process. They are a process because they do not happen in a vacuum. They are normally triggered by a thought. There is always a trigger. And when we speak of a trigger, triggers are unique. Different people are triggered by different situations. And these triggers are normally a function of how a person has been socialized, how a person has experienced life, how a person has been brought up, how a person has been viewing the situation. What is that person's frame of reference? Because if you are always looking at situations in a one-sided perspective, that is going to trigger negative emotions. When we speak of a negative perspective or a one-sided perspective, we are here referring to making it a habit to only think that there is one way to a situation. When we appreciate that whatever we are thinking, there are two sides to it. There is one side to a situation, and on the other hand, there is another side which you might not be aware of. Say, for instance, you are triggered by a thought of how the person responded to your call. Maybe the way the person spoke to you was not friendly. Have you sat back to think as to what might have made the person speak the way they spoke? Or rather, have you sat back to try and understand what might be going through the life of that particular person? We are not rationalizing or justifying the wrong message that the person said. However, when you want to understand your thoughts, when you want to manage your emotions, you need to be very open-minded. You need to be candid. You need to open yourself to two alternatives. What is it that you are thinking? How valid is it? What if what you are thinking is not correct? It is important to do that particular process because that is what is going to significantly influence your emotions. What if I told you that you can protect your emotions from your thoughts? That is the reason why self-mastery is important. Because when we are very clear, when we are intentional, when we take time to reconstruct our thoughts, validate them, they are going to protect our emotions. When we keep on taking things at face value, when we consider anything that is said as a personal attack, that is going to affect our emotions negatively. Therefore, it is everyone's responsibility to choose the way they want to behave, to choose the way they want to feel. Because once you realize that you have a choice, you are not going to be a victim of circumstances. You are not going to be a victim of other people's actions. Rather, you will know that you've got a choice to determine, you've got a choice to behave in any particular situation. Remember that between a stimulus and a response, there is a gap. And that is the gap that where your true independence lies. You do not necessarily need to feel the urge to respond in a certain way because someone has acted in a way that you do not like. Exercise your right. And by exercising your right, you are basically identifying the emotion that you are feeling and choosing how you want to behave. Your emotions are password protected, and it's only you with the PIN number of those emotions. Do you give everyone your PIN number? Of course you don't, because what happens if you give people your PIN number? They are going to withdraw as and when they wish. Similarly, when you give in to people's actions, when you give in to people's comments, you are basically giving away your PIN number. You are basically empowering, putting those people on a pedestal when you make yourself an underdog. Remember that this is your life. You need to sit behind the steering wheel of your life. You need to master your emotions so that you can be the best person that you can be, so that you can have control over anything that happens into your life. Well, if you have not done so, please subscribe so that you don't miss out on these important discussions which come to you every Friday. In the next episode, I would like us to now take a closer look as to how we can identify emotions. We understand that emotions are feelings. We understand that emotions are vibrations. We understand that we have got a password to our emotions. How then can you identify your emotions? See you in the next episode.